Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Stacey Albanese, Associate Director of Annual Giving and Alumni Engagement. Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar, Transferable Skills, What They Are and How to Market Them, presented by the Center for Career Services. We're pleased to offer this webinar to you as well as other online career resources, webinars, and workshops. To learn more, you can visit our website at montclair.edu/alumni or give us a call at 973-655-4141 and we're happy to chat. And now take it away, Adam.
Adam, can you hear us? It appears we're having some technical difficulties, so please just hang tight and we'll see if we can't get this up and running. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yes.
You guys can hear me. Okay, sorry about that. That was inauspicious to say the least. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you, Stacy.
No problem.
Okay, my name is Adam Mayer, and I'm the Director of Career Development in the Center for Career Services at Montclair State University. And today's webinar will be recorded and archived on YouTube at MSU Career Workshops. Once you leave today's webinar, you'll receive a survey on the presentation. Please provide your feedback, as this will help us improve our services. You'll have the opportunity to submit questions by typing them into the questions pane of the control panel, and you can say okay, and we will try and answer those as we have time. Okay, so let's begin the webinar. So this may seem a little strange, but with transferable skills, they're somewhat not that concrete. So what we need to do is something that this goat is not doing. What does he need to do? He's thinking about it. With transferable skills, we need to think outside the box. We need to look at what some of our soft skills are and how they relate to the employment market. But again, to think outside the box is critical. And let's take a look at somebody who's done that. So meet Victor Pettit. This is the back of his resume. He's a graphic design major, and he had an idea, thinking outside the box. So on the back of the resume, we can see that he's inserted a QR code and the shape of a phone, which suggests, okay, we can scan the barcode and hopefully get some information. So what he ends up doing is linking that QR code to a YouTube video, and it's actually him talking. So what did he want to do? Thinking outside the box, he wanted his resume to talk. So we have to think about things a little bit differently in terms of transferable skills, because they are kind of ambiguous, but let's look at them for real here. So there are 10 of them. And this is from a source you can see on the bottom right-hand side. That's the National Association of Colleges and Employer. And you can Google NACE Job Outlook and look up these items, and these are things we need to pay attention to. So we've got 10. So you've got communication skills, motivation, initiative, teamwork skills, leadership skills, academic achievement, interpersonal skills, flexibility, adaptability, technical skills, honesty, integrity, and finally work ethic. Now, most of these, 8 of them, are soft skills. 2 of them are not. The 2 that aren't are the ones that can be quantified. So academic achievement that can be quantified in terms of GPA, technical skills, if we're certified in certain things, proficiency sort of tests, those are easier to sort of relate to an employer. The others, these sort of soft skills, they are ambiguous, but what we need to do is highlight how concrete they are as we go through this process. And that's the point of today, to not only identify what you have in terms of transferable skills, but to incorporate them into the actual job search itself. So let's move on. So you want to identify what the job needs. A great way to identify what the needs are is to use a website called Wordle.net. It's free to use, and a guy on LinkedIn years ago figured this out, where he took a job description, copy and pasted it into Wordle.net, and it creates a word cloud. And what the algorithm does is make largest the terms that are mentioned the most in the job description. So we could see training is the largest, performance, organization, job, needs. So what we're basically doing is sourcing the biggest skills that are required in this position by way of this word cloud. And it's helpful to see. What you can do too is, not only for the job description, you can do this with your own resume. So you minus sort of your personal information, name and phone number and email, you can copy and paste the content of your resume into Wordle, and then it'll create a word cloud. So then you'll see what are some of the terms that are mentioned the most on your resume. And you can kind of go back and forth. You can compare that with the job description. Here too, if we go back, if I use this sort of word cloud that's been created, that can help me write the cover letter if I choose to write one. So I know I'm going to hit those terms the most in the cover letter, because simply that's what the position is requiring. So first we've identified what transferable skills are, and now we've identified what the job needs. So how do we address that in the actual resume itself? What we can do is craft a summary based on those transferable skills that we looked at initially. Incidentally, with this example, Jessica has her name up here. We don't need to include street and street number anymore. That's kind of an archaic thing. Employers typically do want to see city and state phone numbers and that kind of thing. But what's really good is not only is Jessica on LinkedIn, she's customized her public profile address. And that's something you guys can do. It's part of the free version. And you basically, on the right-hand side, when you log in to your profile, it'll say update personal profile address. So again, back to the transferable skills, you can create a summary at the top of the resume. So this is where the transferable skills become less ambiguous. So adept at building strong partnerships between sales, manufacturing, and executive teams. So what skill does that get at? What transferable skill? It actually gets at 2. 1, teamwork skills, and then 2, interpersonal skills. So we've hit 2 transferable skills right at the top of the resume right off the bat. The next one is actually just the actual word itself, because we know initiative is one of the transferable skills that employers like to see. And then finally, we've got Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. They even talk about Tax Act, that's related to their field. So that would be technical skills. So how many did we get to? We got to interpersonal skills, communication skills, initiative, and technical skills. 4 transferable skills are addressed in the very beginning of the resume, and there's only 6 left. We may not have them all, but we do want to identify them through the use of a summary category on the resume. So how do we take transferable skills into the actual interview? Because we've represented them on the resume. Now we're thinking about preparing for the interview. You can use this acronym. It's STAR. I know it sounds cheesy, but I've used it years ago in the past, and it is a very effective job search technique. So with that, the S stands for situation, the T for task, A for action, and then R for result. So here's a typical question that an employer might ask. It's a behavioral-based question. They want you to actually tell about a time. So in this case, it's describe a situation where you held a leadership position. And again, going back to that top 10 list of transferable skills, we know leadership is pursued by employers. So what you can do is, you can type this out, you can keep it on a Word doc, you can put it in your head, wherever it goes. Create stories. STAR allows you to create them. So the situation was not nominated philanthropy chairperson by the employer. The task was to raise money for Willow Lake Children's Hospital. The action led a team of 15 to design, develop, and implement a game show. And then finally, the result. We can see that they recruited 50 participants, sold 600 tickets, and raised $2,000. Now, it might sound like a mouthful. Certainly, we want to add first person to that story as we tell it. But what's nice is when you get to the R, then you know you're done with your answer because it's finality, right? So that gives an employer an opportunity to do what? To probe. This gives them a chance to ask questions further about this example, about this leadership answer, and it becomes a conversation. The interview really, really needs to be a conversation rather than just, sharing information. It should be give and take. So again, once we get to result, we finish our answer and give an employer an opportunity to probe. So on the resume, what do employers typically want to see? We can see leadership, ability to work in a team, communication skills, written, problem-solving skills, and then communication skills as far as verbal. Now, the real beauty here is that's what they want to see on the resume, but those are also 4 of them are transferable skills from that original 10 list. The only one that's different, that's not on that 10, is problem-solving skills. So it's not that difficult to start addressing these because they're wanted in so many different places, in interviewing answers, in the resume itself, and so on. So I've worked with a lot of job seekers, and sometimes they see their job search as something that looks like this. Some of you may think the same thing in terms of what this is. Some folks call it the black hole. They submit their resumes online to a database, they apply for positions, they oftentimes don't hear back. Many times the reason for that is, our resumes are run through what they call an applicant tracking system. And this is where there's software that does the work of about 4 people for human resources. And what they do is parse words. They look for certain keywords and terms. And then, if we pass muster, we eventually get our resume to a human reader. But this isn't what we want. We don't want our resume to exist in a black hole. And just as an aside, I've written resume in Comic Sans because I would like Comic Sans to be in a black hole. I think most of us know it's the worst font in the world. So let's move forward and kind of get an idea on how to optimize our resume so that we can get past these applicant tracking systems. So if you get anything out of our time here today, you want to check out this website. It's called JobScan. So there is no M in that web address. It's jobscan.co. And what you'll end up doing is creating a report, and you're going to edit your resume before you actually apply. So this is what JobScan looks like. On the left-hand side, you're going to copy and paste your resume, and again, minus any personal information. On the right-hand side, you're going to copy and paste the job description, and then you're going to hit scan, and it's going to create a report that you really want to kind of dig into, which we'll look at in a second, but maybe a little bit more on JobScan. It is a free site. You do have to register. I've been on the site for a few years now. They don't spam you. There's no real problems, and they're really pretty helpful. The free version of JobScan, you can accumulate 5 scans every month for free. So even if you're not on a job search and you plan to be on one in a year or 2, create the account now, and then you'll accumulate scans in the meantime. So again, copy and paste the resume, copy and paste the job description, and then we'll get some information. So this answers the question to the black hole. I've got a 23% match rate between my resume and the job description. This is why I'm not going to get called. So incidentally, the percentage that you typically want to get into is anything like 80% or higher in order to get past some of these tracking systems. So if we look a little bit further, it looks at hard skills and it gives us an idea of the actual count. So on the resume, counseling is mentioned once. The job description, it's mentioned 9 times. We can look and see psychology isn't mentioned at all on the resume, but it's mentioned 3 times on the job description. So again, this sort of report allows us to kind of go inside and certainly edit the resume if appropriate before we apply. So I can see what the tracking system wants, and I haven't mentioned it. Something like customer service, I've done that before for sure, but I didn't mention on the resume, and I guess maybe that was an oversight, right? But it is mentioned on the job description, so I need to go in and maybe in the summary, I'd add customer service as a key term. I might put that in a bullet point when I'm describing one of my experiences, and so on. So that's hard skills. And it looks at those sort of ambiguous soft skills, which kind of echoes, well, we can see it here too. So communication skills, verbal communication, right? Those are a couple of the transferable skills we looked at in the beginning. So they're starting to appear certainly in the report itself. So again, we look at what's missing based on the job scan report, edit our resume before applying, and hopefully we get the call. So this is an interesting thing. Take a look at this. So this is called live scoring on JobScan. This is a fee-based version of JobScan. So rather than you taking the free report and manually updating the information, this service changes the actual resume in real time, and then it recalculates the match rate. So it's pretty unique. Something, again, this is the fee-based version of live scoring on JobScan. Just something to throw out there. So just to kind of put things all together in terms of transferable skills, the first thing is to identify what these skills are. And again, that National Association of Colleges and Employers, NACE Job Outlook, that's a great resource to determine what they are and what we have. Number 2, we want to identify what the job needs. That's where we're going to copy and paste the job description into Wordle. We check out the word cloud, and we can use that for a number of different things. That can help us craft the summary at the top of the resume. That's number 3. Number 4, in terms of the actual interview itself, we want to develop situation, task, action, and results for those 10 transferable skills that we looked at initially. And then 5, before we actually apply, we want to optimize our resume. And again, that's through jobscan.co. As mentioned earlier, this webinar is going to be archived on our YouTube channel, and that is MSU Career Workshops. You can see we have a number of different workshops here. LinkedIn in your career, resume development. This one's pretty good. It kind of makes sense of cover letters and thank you notes. It's all, it's all there. There's another one that's further on down the line that relates to applicant tracking systems. And, we welcome you guys to check that out when you have time. So that's the workshop for today. If there are any questions, we can open that up. Okay. Well, it doesn't seem as if we have any questions for today. I thank you for attending, and definitely check us out on our YouTube channel, and have a great rest of the day.